morning, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk Parkinson's, our online event brought to you by Parkinson's Community Los Angeles. Today is the first part of a special two-part series that will provide you with wellness and fitness strategies to help you manage your symptoms and live your best life with Parkinson's. I'm Patrick Losasso. I'm president of PCLA. For those of you who don't know us, we are a Los Angeles-based nonprofit that supports families living with Parkinson's through our free online education events, our support groups, our information and referral program, and so much more. This series is brought to you by our Let's Talk Parkinson's sponsors, who are Abbott, AbbVie, Boston Scientific, Medtronic, and Synovian. Our programs are also made possible by donations from the Parkinson's community from people like you. So if you appreciate the work that we do and you'd like to help us continue, I hope you'll consider making a donation. It's so easy. Just visit our website at pcla.org, where you can make that donation and find a bunch of really useful information as well. In addition to serving our PCLA's board, I am a strength and conditioning specialist and a personal trainer. And I've been working with people with Parkinson's for almost 20 years now. I really enjoy it. Next Sunday is part 2 of this series, and I'll be presenting evidence-based exercise strategies and techniques that can help you manage your symptoms through proper exercise. So join us for that. That's next Sunday, and again at 10 a.m. Today, we're going to hear from physical therapist Z Altu about the benefits of good nutrition, sustainable exercise, stress management, sleep optimization, socialization, and much more. And on a personal note, I've really enjoyed this collaboration with Z. I think Z and I must have met each other, I don't know, 12 or 15 years ago at his facility. And he's just a wealth of knowledge. He's an inspiration. And you guys are in for a treat today. So hang on to your hats. So before we get started, we are recording today's event for our YouTube channel. So if you don't want to be visible in the recording, please turn off your video. We'll be providing everyone who's registered to this recording a link so you can review the event and share it for your friends. And just as a side note, if you're registered for today, you are also registered for next Sunday. You don't need to do anything else. We'll be sending out reminders. Please keep your microphone on mute. Hopefully we'll have time for questions at the end. If so, I'll ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question, but you can make sure that you get an answer to your questions by submitting them into the chat anytime during the presentation. And Z has generously offered to provide answers, written answers to all the questions, and we'll send them out to all to you guys to review via email. Please keep your questions on topic. So please join me in giving a big PCL welcome to our speaker today, Z Altu. Z is a board certified orthopedic clinical specialist, a licensed physical therapist, and an author with 30 years of experience in his field. He currently provides private physical therapy services in Los Angeles and teaches part-time at a university. Z is the author of several books and has published many scholarly articles and has twice won the Clinician Non-Research Publication Award from the California Physical Therapy Association. He is the author of Integrative Healing, Developing Wellness in the Mind and Body, which helps readers incorporate both Eastern and Western approaches to wellness. Thank you, Z, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate the wonderful introduction, and I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation next week. So welcome everyone, and I hope I can share some interesting information with you. And you will be getting a copy of this presentation, so there's really no need to take notes. All my references and citations, everything will be there. In addition to being recorded, you will also receive a transcript of my entire PowerPoint. So if you miss something or if I go over it too quickly, it's okay, you'll still have it. So this is my background. We went over those and kind of the disclosures. The only thing I wanted to say here was if we try a lab and you don't feel comfortable doing something, just pass on it and just listen. And I also wanted to mention that today, everything that I'm presenting is a way of approaching the material and not necessarily the way. Part of it is my interpretation, so there might be other therapists and other healthcare providers who have different approaches. So I just wanted to point that out. This is a basic outline of my webinar for today. It's ambitious, so we're going to try to get through it as much as I can in this hour. And if not, we'll have questions at the end. So we're trying to understand wellness concepts, identify wellness concepts, and hopefully apply a few of them while we're here doing this 1 hour. So the presentation, if I were to put it into a nutshell, it's really about improving the quality of life with all the different things that we're going to talk about with self-care solutions. So things that you can use in your own home to make life better for yourself. I'm going to be outlining 6 different strategies, and these are the 6 pillars of lifestyle factors from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and they include nutrition, exercise and physical activity, which Patrick will be getting into next week. We'll be talking about sleep optimization, stress management, and also social connectedness, as well as avoiding risky substances. Okay, so let's get started with some self-care. What we want to do is plant the seeds first. So maybe taking a cooking class or getting into an exercise program. So you're planting the seeds if you're already not doing this. Then the second part is nurturing the growth. And if you took a cooking class, learning how to cook healthful foods, because you have an option. And just because you took a cooking class doesn't necessarily mean you're going to opt to cook the healthy stuff, but that's really what your goal should be. And then finally, harvesting your efforts. So just you're going to have the improved health. So that's kind of the little scheme that we're after. And that's a nice table full of people enjoying themselves with a meal and they're socializing. So what is lifestyle medicine? According to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, one definition is it's a predominantly whole food, plant-based diet. Now, I didn't say vegetarian, predominantly plant-based, vegetables, fruits, grains, those kinds of things. Making sure that we're getting regular physical activity, getting adequate sleep, managing our stress, and of course, avoiding risky substances like smoking and managing other medications that we might be taking. So what's interesting about lifestyle medicine is that they're about treating, some cases reversing, and preventing. So the reverse might be applied to diabetes, for instance. So they're really doing a lot of research on seeing if they can reverse some aspect of it. Maybe not 100% reversal, but even if a person can reverse it 25, 50%, that could mean less medications and less side effects. Okay. So if we look at lifestyle factors for Parkinson's, it is, I'm just moving my screen down here. It says that lifestyle factors can influence Parkinson's disease progression. And this is from a study that Dr. Bronstein was a part of. And the study found that physical activity is protective and that smoking is associated with risk. So it's nice to have this information available to us. I mean, there's a study behind this. So this second part that I'm going to address briefly is the food part of it. Let food be thy medicine. Well, who said that? Well, Hippocrates about 2,000 years ago said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So it still holds true that we can use foods for helping us heal from a variety of conditions. And we use food for energy and survival, of course, but it's also important for health and healing, keeping our immune system strong and healthy. And it's also a part of our social interactions with individuals that we're encountering. So it's not just hurry up and eat the food, but slow down and enjoy it with the folks that are close to us, our family and friends. So there's a movement that says that we can fight disease with forks, spoons, and knives, and meaning the way we eat. And prevention is better than intervention if we can do prevention. Some things we can't prevent, but many things we can. So let's talk a little bit about the Mediterranean diet, because this is the one that has some research behind it. And if you are interested in this, you can certainly go into the article and look at more information. But it says that adherence to a Mediterranean diet can help with executive function, language, concentration, and memory. And this study was specifically done in individuals who have Parkinson's. So it's important for us to know this information. But the Mediterranean diet is kind of important for a whole assortment of things like diabetes and heart disease, arthritis. It has a lot of different, it has a reach to many different healthcare issues. And here's a study that shows that Mediterranean diet supplemented with olive oil and nuts is associated with improved cognition. That's important for us to know. And there's a study for that if you're interested in reading more. Here's a study that shows that including more green leafy vegetables into our diet can help slow cognitive decline. Well, who doesn't want that? I mean, that's a really good thing. So these plant-based foods are very, very powerful. The sun, one of the most powerful things that we have in our solar system, is nourishing these foods, and these foods in turn are nourishing us. Here's a study that shows that food can be a part of reducing inflammation. This was a more recent study, and it showed that if a person followed a low inflammatory foods diet or had a smoothie that incorporated that low inflammatory foods principles, they can reduce systemic inflammation, which means inflammation throughout the whole body rather than having maybe inflammation in your elbow or inflammation in your knee. This is systemic. It's just your whole body wide. Here is the science-based smoothie that came out of that article. This is a little modified version of it, but a person can take a blender and put in their spinach, bok choy, or kale, some blueberries and a banana. You have your choice of either using soy milk or almond milk and water, and you blend it. Now, it depends on how much of it you want to make. You want to make so much that you drink it throughout the day, or you just want to make enough for one consumption. So that's up to you. But they found that this had an anti-inflammatory effect. Now, you don't want to replace your whole foods with smoothies, but this is just one option. And I would highly recommend anybody interested in nutrition working with a dietitian to optimize their nutrition for their needs. That's the key, because everybody has different needs. So one way to enhance our eating experiences is to actually choose foods wisely. And one way would be to choose a colorful assortment of foods. Don't always do the banana and only yellow, but try to get the blueberries, the raspberries, and an assortment of different colors, and especially foods that are in season. Learning how to cook. That could be a really nice way of introducing socialization into your life and meeting new friends, and also learning a very new skill that is very lifelong, something that you can use lifelong. And eating mindfully, paying attention to the individual foods, and not just kind of going through a drive-through and hurry up and downing a burger and a shake, but taking time to enjoy the foods and slowing down the process And that's a part of the Mediterranean diet too. I think the Americans tend to focus on the ingredients of the Mediterranean diet, which is olive oils and vegetables and fruits. But if you look at the Mediterranean diet, especially as it is in Greece and in Italy, it's about sitting down with family, and it's a nice atmosphere, good for digestion, good for socialization, putting people in a good mood. So another way to improve your diet is to try some gardening, whether you do create your own garden or you join a community garden, getting your hands in the dirt a little bit. So you get some fresh air, a little bit of sensible sunshine exposure, and you get some natural light, not just sunshine hitting your skin, but natural bright light. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. And it's physical activity. You're bending, you're reaching for things. So it's a natural way of getting some movement. So let's talk about sleep a little bit. Inadequate sleep may prevent healing and recovery. So it's important that we're not just lying there for 8 hours, but we're getting restful and restorative quality sleep. And there are things that we can do to help us improve our sleep so that we're getting recovery and restoration for the next day. How much sleep is needed? Well, approximately 7 or more hours for adults on a regular basis. Now, on an occasion, we're going to have parties and events, and we're not going to get that, and that's okay. But on an average, it should be that. So there's some studies that show that impaired sleep and alertness are some of the more common non-motor manifestations of Parkinson's disease. So we need to know that that's a part of it. And here's the interesting study. That's the second one. Light therapy was well tolerated by individuals for improving that sleep-wake cycle. So if you're interested in this, it's beyond my expertise to provide specific guidelines for this. So I would talk to your neurologist. If you feel like you're having difficulty with sleep, ask if a light therapy box may be appropriate for you. Another way to get light therapy is, of course, more in the morning. The key is to get the light more in the morning if you're going to do it with nature. So eating your breakfast near a window, going outside, taking more walks outside, gardening outside. Those are some natural ways of increasing bright light. How can you improve your sleep? Well, number one, here are some sleep hygiene guidelines. And this is exactly what the researchers call it, sleep hygiene. And establishing regular bedtime habits for the most part, other than the holiday events and so forth. Make sure your bed is comfortable and you're cutting out foods like beverages like caffeine and so forth 3 to 5 hours before sleep, because caffeine is a stimulant and also it'll make you go to the bathroom. So if you're getting up to go to the bathroom too frequently, that's interrupting sleep. Avoiding late night eating and heavy meals within 3 hours of bedtime, because again, you're just going to be tossing and turning, trying to digest those foods. And avoiding alcohol near bedtime, since it fragments sleep. So there's a misconception that drinking alcohol at night before you go to sleep, it'll put you to sleep. Well, it might make a person sleepy temporarily, but what the sleep researchers are saying is that it will fragment your sleep ultimately. So if you're going to have a glass of wine or something, try to do it earlier in the evening, not close to bedtime. Let's try this. We'll do it very briefly. I can't see everyone, so it's it might be a little bit of a challenge, but if you're up to it, you're going to just stay seated. This is a relaxation technique that was created by Dr. Jacobson, and he calls it progressive muscle relaxation. This could be a strategy that you use to help yourself get to sleep. This is only a condensed version that I'm going to show you. So if you wish to participate, go ahead and slowly close your eyes if you feel comfortable. If you don't like closing your eyes, maybe just kind of close them a little bit and look into a distant area, like pick one spot in front of you and just kind of gaze into that spot as you listen to my voice. Okay, so if you close your eyes, I want you to take 2 belly breaths. Just gently breathe in and breathe out. Good, let's do that one more time. Just relax and breathe in. And breathe out. Good. Now I want you to wrinkle your forehead. Just raise your eyebrows up for 5 seconds and hold and relax with a diaphragmatic breath. So diaphragmatic breath, same as belly breathing. And if you're not sure exactly what those are, I can provide some resources for that. But if you've taken yoga, it's breathing in that manner. Okay, now I want you to frown. Just scrunch up your face and make a frown face for 5 seconds. And relax. And then breathe again. So you notice what you're doing. You're tensing muscles and then you're relaxing muscles. And we're starting in the face because we want to relax our face because that has a nice effect on the whole body. Next, shrug your shoulders upward, up to your ears. Hold that, hold that, hold that, and relax with 2 breaths. And then finally, I want you to tighten your fists, tighten your arms and fists tightly for 5 seconds, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax with 2 breaths. Now I want you to smile. Keep your eyes closed if you've had them closed. Smile and think about all the wonderful things in your life. Just pick a few things that you're grateful for. And take a breath and slowly open your eyes. And we're back to the present. So you can do this entire contract, relax routine all the way through your legs and toes and so forth. Some people can do this during the day, and some people choose to do it right before they go to sleep. And then instead of opening your eyes, you just fall asleep. So it is a very powerful technique, and there's research behind this for improving sleep and helping individuals relax before sleep. The next category that we're going to get into is managing our stress. So there's a study that shows that among patients with mild to moderate Parkinson's, mindfulness-based yoga was found to help with symptoms, help with depressive symptoms, and improve overall well-being. Of course, this assumes that you like yoga or you've even tried yoga. So if you haven't, you might consider going to a yoga studio and taking a very, very basic, easy yoga and see if it resonates with you. See if that particular philosophy, that particular approach to moving resonates with you. If not, there are other choices that we're going to talk about. Using mindfulness techniques. So one way of doing mindfulness is to meditate. Another one is to read a book. Another one is to go gardening. Another one is to do some walking outside at a park. So there's multiple ways of being mindful. Some people are mindful participating in hobbies that they enjoy, building things. So here are some strategies that you can use to help reduce stress. There's a lot of research that shows that if we can train to complain a little bit less, at least about trivial things that we can't control, the weather. I mean, we can't control the weather. We can't necessarily control the traffic on the 405. So if the weather is just not a good day, I mean, that's the way it is. We just say, okay, well, at least I'm having a good day on my end personally, and the weather will change and it will get better. And the traffic, well, it is what it is. I'll turn on some classical music and I'll get to my point B destination whenever I get there. and trying to focus on the positive aspects of everything as much as we can. And that is convincing our body that it's okay. Our body believes what our brain tells it. So if we are in a good mood, then our body kind of resonates with those kinds of things, less aches, less pains, and so forth. And there's other things that you can try to reduce stress, trying yoga, trying Tai Chi, Qigong, aromatherapy, which might include lavender scent, like washing your hands at night with lavender soap. You can hum, you can sing, you can dance, you can play with your pets, your dog, your cat. So there are multiple ways. The key is to find your happy place. I don't know what that is, but you know where those happy places are, whether it's being with your family, doing more of your hobbies, getting more involved in the community, gardening, or volunteering and mentoring other people. So find your happy place, and you might have multiple places. Tap into those during the week. Let's do another technique called the body scan routine. This is a mini meditation routine that is also very powerful. This was created by Jon Kabat-Zinn, and he's a PhD psychologist, and he has a book at the bottom you can see. And let's just kind of show you this technique and see if this maybe resonates with you. If not, we'll have to find another one for you. So what I'd like you to do is, if you wish, as you're sitting down, close your eyes and gradually shift your attention from the outside world, whatever is around you, to where you're sitting. Now, just feel what the chair feels like. What does your feet feel like on the floor? Does it feel comfortable? Is the floor hard? Is it soft? Does your shoe feel nice? Does it feel tight? Make a note of that. Now gradually breathe in diaphragmatically or belly breath and relax. Now slowly feel yourself floating in your chair just a little bit. So you're not so heavy on the chair, but you're feeling like your wrist relaxed and you're barely touching it. This is all obviously in your imagination. Now, what I'd like you to do is bring your attention to your left foot. What does your left foot feel like? If you're in socks, wiggle your toes. Does it feel comfortable? If you're in shoes, is it tight? Does it feel relaxed? Are your feet cold? Are your feet warm? No judgment, just explore what it is. If there's any discomfort in your foot, focus on your foot again, your left foot, and see if you can breathe in and then breathe out, focusing on that pain. And see if you can, through breathing a few times, make that pain in your left foot or discomfort or tightness diminish. So gradually, I'd like you to open your eyes at this point, and you can see the rest of the template that I outlined. The way Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn outlines it is, you go from your left foot to your left heel, to your left ankle, left knee, left hip, and then you go to your right foot, right ankle, all the way up. Then you go to your midsection, your back, and then your shoulders, neck, and so forth. So the program could take 20 minutes up to an hour, depending on how slow you're doing it and how quickly you change sequences. So in his book, he outlines the whole sequence, but you can get a flavor of it here. It's extremely powerful, very easy to do at home. They also have CDs that can do a guided meditation for you. So they talk you through all the steps, and they have some free ones at, I think, UCLA, the neurology department and their mindfulness department has some of those CDs. And if anybody's interested, I can send you those links. I don't recall the link right now. Okay, so our next section that we're going to focus on is risky substances, avoiding those. Smoking. We know that smoking is not good, but it also has an effect on reducing, it can have an effect on our cognitive abilities because it's constricting things, constricting blood vessels, and a whole assortment of things that we're putting into our system. So without making a judgment on yourself, if a person is smoking or you yourself are smoking, maybe finding strategies with your doctor like self-hypnosis, hypnosis, there's yoga programs that a person can go into, and finding a way to get beyond that so that your body can heal itself. So that's just a thought for you to consider. Excessive alcohol. I mean, alcohol, a little bit of wine is okay, but when it gets into excess, that's when it's not good. So we want to make sure that we're not going into that excess mode. And if a person is in that excess mode and they need help, that would be a good time to talk with your physician and see if there are some programs that you can get into to help manage that. So here are some techniques that, or some organizations that you can use to help yourself and at least get started through the National Institutes of Health. But I highly recommend that you speak with your physician regarding that. You can also use some positive psychology, adopting a positive outlook in life and finding purpose. Every day you get up, what's my purpose today? What do I want to accomplish today that's going to make me happy and do something perhaps for my family or for my surroundings? Getting involved in nurturing relationships, people that make you laugh, people that tell interesting stories. Those are some of the things that we can do, and that's a part of using positive psychology. So let's just say a person has a bad habit or a habit that they would like to engage in. So let's focus on the bottom one, how to create a good habit. Let's just say you're not really exercising as much as you like. So you've identified not exercising enough. The next one would be add a positive trigger. So if you're working, you can say, okay, before I eat my lunch, I'm going to do a 10-minute walk. So that's part of your trigger. It's lunchtime. Before I eat, I have to do this walk. And then you pre-plan whatever your strategy is. So you have to pre-plan it, say, this is what I'm going to do. Lunch, before I walk, or before I eat, I'm going to walk. And then you can track yourself either on a calendar, on your phone, or there's many habit tracker apps. And as soon as you do your walk, you log it in. And then you can log that in throughout the week. And then you can see your success at the end of the month. And at the end of the month, you decide what percent success you need. 80% success during the month. If you've achieved that, go ahead and get yourself a little gift card or get yourself something, reward yourself. So you decide how many days out of the month you need to walk to reward yourself. So it's all up to you. Okay, so our next section that we're going to move into is social connectedness. And I've been talking about social connectedness a lot because they're finding that social connectedness is a lot more important than physicians and therapists and healthcare providers were to understanding. So let's look at that a little bit. Maintaining a good social network is important for Parkinson's. So here was a study that showed that group singing, whether it was at a community center, whether it was at a place of worship, wherever you're doing the singing, it had a positive effect. Social connectedness has a potent influence on health and longevity. So knowing that, we can take actions towards that. So how can we make that connection? We can explore volunteer opportunities by mentoring or teaching other people at schools, community centers, maybe teaching a community class, or mentoring people on Zoom. Joining a fitness center, you're going to be around other people, you're going to meet different people. Joining a self-help group, being part of an organization like the PCLA, learning how to cook, taking online live classes. So there's multiple ways of getting socially connected. Just look around your community and see if you see things that interest you, get out of the house. Number 7, let's try to make nature a part of our life. So adequate outdoor light and light therapy may improve depressive symptoms and mood. We talked about this earlier, about that light therapy that you're going to ask your physician if you think you might need it. Well, you can also get the light through outdoor natural light. And to do that, we could be eating our breakfast near a window or eating it on the patio, going out for a morning walk. I walk in the morning for 30 minutes before I start my day, get that bright light in and get my exercise in, get the movement, get the blood flowing to my brain. So those are some simple strategies that you can use. Here's a study that showed that outdoor activity and total vitamin D intake had a decreased risk for Parkinson's. So this is a good preventive strategy potentially. The key is we need to get outside and get fresh air and sunshine. Now, if you're not sure about your vitamin D levels, that's something that you would have to talk to your doctor. You get a blood test, and then you and your doctor can work out what level you need to be at for optimal dosing. I'm not sure what you need, so that's something you need to discuss with your doctor. So here are some practical tips to get some outdoor exercise. Use the buddy system. Again, you're getting some socialization, and it's also safe when you go outside together. Wear appropriate clothing. So if you're sun sensitive, it's okay. You can wear a wide brim hat, long sleeve shirts, but you're still outside getting fresh air and that bright light and some activity. Try to avoid exercising in polluted, highly polluted, congested areas like with cars and stuff. So you might want to drive to a park or a high school track or something like that where you can get some fresh air. And of course, you might have to be more cautious of temperatures. If it's too hot, that's when you can go to a mall and walk around in a mall, and there might be a mall walking club. If it's a nice temperature, then you can go outside and walk. And ways to increase light exposure, as we've already talked about. Breakfast near a window, taking an outdoor walk in the morning or at lunch. Do some gardening, maybe before work or after work. Exercise a little bit in your backyard. If you know a Tai Chi routine, go outside in your backyard and do your Tai Chi routine. You can even build a small gazebo in your backyard and do your own yoga in your own built gazebo. And around your gazebo, you can plant fruits and vegetables and so forth. And you can even use your gazebo for meditation and relaxation, for reading and so forth. I've had some patients and clients that have done that for themselves. It's kind of like their own spot. So here are some strategies for you to consider for how to create a healing space in your home. Why do we want to create a healing space, whether it's on your balcony or you create maybe a portion of your garage, you flip open the garage door, there's your bright light coming in, and you use part of it to park your car, and the other part of your garage, you use it as your own fitness center. You're getting some outdoor light, sensible sunshine, some fresh air. You're being connected with nature. You can put some plants in there. You can play your music. You go to the fitness center, you're going to have your music in your own earphones, or you're going to listen to what's being provided. But in your own home or garage or outdoors, you can play whatever it is that you wish. You can even have aromatherapy. You can have some essential oils like lavender, or if you have garden near you, your plants and your flowers, that's your source of natural aromatherapy. And you're going to have to equip your house with whatever equipment that you want. You can have a mat, a ball, and these are some things that Patrick will be going over next week in his presentation. So even if a person lives in a climate that's colder, this person is exercising in a room and it's snowing outside. They're getting some bright light, so they have a little wellness room. A person can exercise on their balcony if they live in an apartment, so you can convert that into a healing space. You can go to your patio and do exercises on your patio. You can convert your garage into a fitness area. So this is a closed garage, but imagine the doors open and you have all your fitness equipment in there, stationary bicycle, a mat, some free weights, some dumbbells, and things like that. You can exercise in your yard. Just pull out your mat. That's all you need. And just do body weight exercises like this lady's doing here. Or if you know a yoga routine or a Tai Chi routine, you can easily do that in your backyard. And this bottom one is my favorite, doing some gardening. The gentleman is squatting down. He's kneeling down. So he's getting some exercise by bending. The lady is in a stretched position. Her legs are getting some movement, and she had to get down into that position, has to get back up. So gardening is a very nice, natural way of moving, and it has a purpose. I mean, you're doing something that's making your home more beautiful. And if you plant vegetables and so forth, you can actually eat them. They're organic. You can even create your own gazebo in your backyard. So if you're a handy person, create one of these things, plant your garden around the gazebo. In your gazebo, you can do your yoga and Tai Chi and even read your book. You can also create, if you have a shed, create a he shed or a she shed and make it your own place. Hey, kids have forts. Why can't adults? We can have our own little fort and create our own little place where it's your place of reading or working on your hobbies that you might like. So regular physical activity, I'm not going to get into this too much because Patrick is going to do a fantastic job of this next week. But this is kind of what an exercise menu might look like. You want a little bit of each of these things in your menu, just like your menu when you eat foods. You don't just eat bananas and that's it, or you don't just drink milk and that's it, or you don't just eat fish and that's it. You have a variety of things that you incorporate into your diet. Every one of these components, aerobic fitness builds your endurance. Strength gives you the capacity to lift groceries. Flexibility allows you to bend and stretch and reach for things. Balance helps you get up and down curves. Coordination helps you step over things that are in your house. Mind-body fitness allows you to connect your mind and your body together, like in yoga and Tai Chi or Qigong. And Patrick will go over some of these things, but task-specific fitness, like getting out of a chair, you can even use that as an exercise program. So that's kind of your exercise menu. Look at all the things that we have to choose from. Sports, weight training, you can make your hobbies like gardening as a part of your exercise routine, doing gentle calisthenics. Even going outside and raking the leaves counts as physical activity. You can go out for a walk, you can go for a hike, you can go bike riding, swimming, and dancing. So it's a matter of what you feel you enjoy and what you feel comfortable with. And then if you look at exercise and physical activities, you can do them lying down, you can do them in standing, you can do them in a seated position, and you can be supported like in a swimming pool. So if a person has knee pain and so forth, and they don't feel comfortable getting on a treadmill or going outside for a walk, that person might feel much better going into a pool, maybe up to their shoulders, and they can walk in the pool and they're supported by the water, and that puts a little bit less pressure on the knee, if that were the person's concern. So there are multiple ways that a person can exercise. And the final area that I wanted to go over in terms of movement is trying some mind-body activities. So this would be, we've talked about these, If you've never experienced yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or Pilates or labyrinth walking, you might want to consider trying some classes, especially we're coming up on the new year. Go out and take a 1-time or 2-time yoga class or a Tai Chi class. See what you think. Do you enjoy those movements? Labyrinth walking, some churches and some communities have labyrinths. It's kind of a meditative tool. You walk in, you walk around and around and around, and you get to the center, and then you slowly come back out. And for some people, that's a walking meditation. So all of these that we cover here are more dynamic or movement-based meditation techniques. Some people don't like sitting in one place and closing their eyes and trying to do meditation that way. Some people prefer to be more dynamic in movement. And I'm more that way too. I prefer to be more dynamic and movement-based meditation. So give a try and see what you think. Here's a study that shows for yoga may be useful for treating depression. Yoga can help with reducing fall risk. And yoga can help with anxiety and depressive symptoms. So, I mean, that's pretty powerful just from doing yoga. Because these are things that we would think only medications would help. Medications are fine when needed. However, here are some nice adjunct strategies that a person can try. Tai Chi can reduce fall risk. Qigong is a form of Tai Chi. It can help with improving mobility and improving quality of sleep. Pilates, like the lady is doing here, can improve fitness and physical function. Feldenkrais is a method where a person can improve their quality of life by doing these motions. Now, I understand I'm kind of going quickly over these, but you have these slides available to you. So if you're really curious, well, what is a Feldenkrais method and what do they do? You can put that into YouTube and you'll see it in action. But I'm just introducing these things to you so that you have them in the back of your mind. Alexander technique is another approach for improving posture and walking. And people who did that had less depression. So that's another area that you could explore. Now, you can't do all of these things, but you can explore different ones until you find the one that you like. Martial arts, wax on, wax off. So that can be a gentle form of martial arts for improving quality of life and well-being. And here is a way of moving. So you can see the archer position. You're getting cervical rotation or neck rotation, and you're pulling your shoulders back. And that pulling your shoulders back is actually strengthening in between your shoulders. And you would reverse and you would do the other side. So this is one exercise that's used in Qigong. The other one that's on the bottom, the lady is reaching up with one hand and down with the other. So that's stretching the lats on one side, the arm that's reaching up, and it's stretching the upper trapezius in the other arm that's going down. And these are very helpful for reducing tension in the upper back and neck. And if a person has maybe a forward posture, this is a nice way of helping that person straighten back up and be better. So the final area that I'm going to cover here is trying to engage in some expressive therapies. Maybe all the other things didn't resonate with you, but maybe something in this category might. Music therapy. So participating in a group and you're either playing music, you're learning how to play music, but it can improve gait and cognition and improve the quality of life for people who engage in music therapy. Art therapy, learning how to do different types of art. This one was focused on clay art therapy, and it improved hand dexterity and mood and quality of life. Again, you're in a group, you're learning from somebody, and it's doing something creative. Dance therapy. Dance therapy provides us variable movement patterns. When we go to the gym and jump on a treadmill, the pattern is predictable, one leg in front of the other, and you're going forward, forward, forward. With dance, it's all variable movements. And for some people, those variable movements might be very nice. And it can also improve functional mobility, meaning your movements in day-to-day life will improve and be better. Poetry. For some people that like poetry, that might be really nice. You go and you get to practice standing in front of people. Your speeches in play, you get to practice your voice. You get to be creative, and you're in a social group. So that could be a part of improving your linguistic abilities. Theater. So you go to the theater, you learn a script, and you learn a particular area, and that can be a part of improving a person's quality of life because you're in a group and you're acting, you're mobile, you have to get up on stage, you have to get on stage, that kind of thing. So a theater type of therapy, drama therapy, could be something that you might consider as well. A drum circle, just getting in a drum circle. I mean, look at these folks, they're having fun, and you're creating music, it's outdoors, it's fresh air. And again, studies show that it improves quality of life. Journaling, for some people who really like writing, expressive writing may help reduce anxiety. So you can get yourself a blank journal, write your thoughts. If you're like writing poetry, write poetry. If you have other things or things that came to mind, rather than letting those thoughts be fleeting, write them down and save them. And for your grandchildren, grandkids, and so forth, and they can look at like what you wrote back when. So they have a journal of your thoughts. And I did say final, but truthfully, this is going to be the final. So the practical self-care strategies is we need to exercise to prevent falls. We know that, we've heard that, because we need strong and supple muscles to help us accomplish that. Here are some fall prevention guidelines. Don't worry about memorizing the list because you're going to have this entire document for you and you can go through it as a checklist. But number one and number two, I want to point out, don't be in a rush. In my 30 years of experience as a physical therapist, the falls that have occurred for my patients were because they were in a rush to get to the phone. So don't be in a rush. And number two, if you're going to walk around outside or a mall, don't put your hands in your pockets because you're taking away your balance. Keep your hands out of your pocket. If you're standing still and you're cold, then you can put your hands in your pocket. But if you're truly cold and you're going out for a walk, wear some gloves so you don't have that need to put your hands in your pocket, because that's a very dangerous situation. And stairs, I put the stairs here purposely because the biggest area of fall risk in the house is the stairs. Hold on going up the stairs and hold on coming down the stairs. And if you have to come down the stairs with something in your hand, make sure it's only in one hand and the other hand is holding on to the rails. That's the safest thing to do. Here's some other things to consider. Probiotics can help with constipation. And if a person with Parkinson's has constipation, this could be something that could be very beneficial. You don't have to take pills necessarily. There are things in regular foods like yogurt or kefir or kimchi or sauerkraut. So these are some natural sources of getting probiotics. But if you want to take supplements, that would be a good thing to talk to your doctor and your dietitian about to get more specifics. Here are some strategies to learn how to manage constipation. If a person has constipation, they can lie down on their back, pull one knee to their chest and then the other, and repeat that 10 times. If you're kind of getting that area moving a little bit, you can do double knee to chest. You can squat down fully if your knees will let you. And then you can even do a gentle abdominal massage clockwise. So these are based on some studies. and they've shown that they can help with an individual who has constipation. The key, of course, is to prevent the constipation from happening in the first place. So if the medications are triggering the constipation, speak with your doctor and see what you can do, or maybe a stool softener and incorporating fiber into your diet. But on those rare occasions that you might have constipation, these are some strategies that you might consider. And here are some body mechanics guidelines for caregivers. Again, I'm not going to go through this in detail because you'll have this in your notes, but you can go through this and protect yourself as a caregiver. So in summary, I wanted to say that I gave you a lot of information to consider. Pick and choose the areas that resonated with you and that you were interested in, and just do your best. Do what works for you. The key is to stay optimistic because research is constantly coming up with new things. At one point, there was no cure for the polio. There was no cure for a variety of things. And with time, researchers figured it out. In the 50s, they figured out what to do for polio, and now we're able to manage that. Same thing happened for tuberculosis. My father was a physician, and he treated tuberculosis for many, many years, and they found better solutions for that. So research is constantly improving. Stay optimistic. You never know. Tomorrow we could wake up to some really, really good news as far as all the different medical conditions that are out there, and there are going to be treatments for them all. And the key is socialize in your community. So I think I have managed to get to the 11 o'clock slot without going over. And the final thing I wanted to say is plant the seeds and just watch them grow. So start an exercise program and see how you feel 6 months later, not 1 week, because research is showing that if you're going to do an exercise program for Parkinson's and how you feel mentally, how you feel physically, give it 6 months, maybe even more. And if you notice a little bit of change at 6 months, why stop there? Keep going. So thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer some questions as best as I can.
So Z, this was, I think I can speak on behalf of everybody here. Phenomenal information.
Thank you.
What a collection, what a menu of things that we can do to improve our quality of life. It really lives up to the roadmaps for living better theme here for sure. You know, as I was listening to you, and I've seen a lot of these presentations, I've done some myself. There was some really, some notable strategies or things that kind of struck me. I'm going to open this up to questions in a moment, but I thought the whole, you know, you'd mentioned building a gazebo, and I think even metaphorically, creating, you know, your safe place where you grow, where you rest, where you heal, where you restore. You know, I found that to be something really useful. And in terms of, like, you know, my experience and interaction with the community, identifying that as somewhere in your home where you have your safe place, in your restorative place. It might even be just a chair. But, you know, the garage idea was great. You know, I can create one in my garage right next where I park my Ferrari. Something nice to look at while I'm there. But no, but I thought that was something really useful. And I would really like to encourage all of the participants here. You're all going to get a PDF with all of these slides. And I would hope you would maybe explore at least one thing that you haven't explored that that Z has, you know, identified. You know, get curious. And this has provided us, you know, just an incredible outline, like menu of ways of improving our life. So that was the other one. And then I did want you to talk, because I haven't ever heard this whole concept of light therapy. And when you brought it up, I was like, I wonder what is light therapy? And you said there could be a box, but I imagine what light therapy is basically just getting some sunlight or some light around you. So we do have, I'm going to kind of toss that out to you if you want to elaborate on that. We did have one chat in the one question in the chat on the Oculus, and can you comment on the Oculus? And for those of you who don't know, I actually bought one for myself. It's a virtual reality goggles with some hand controllers, and it takes you into different environments. There's different games, and it's become kind of a bit of a fad in terms of rehab and physical therapy, much in the way the Wii did initially, I believe.
Right.
So if you have any information on those two things, I'm just going to toss it back to you, put myself on mute, and I'll let you speak for a little bit. We're going to run a little bit over. We're past the hour. We're going to run maybe 5 or 10 minutes over. And then after you talk about those two things, I'll open it up to see if anybody else has any verbal questions.
Okay. So I'll comment on the light therapy. This is an area, if a person is going to use a light box, to talk with their neurologist about that, to decide what type of dosing that person might need, how many minutes they may need. So a lot of times people use these light boxes that are living in areas like Sweden, Norway, or Maine, or Vermont, where the winter months can become very dark and gloomy. So there's something called seasonal affective disorder, and that can be due to just not getting enough light. So it's more common to use the light therapy and the light box there. Here in Southern California, as long as a person is getting outside their house a little bit, gardening, especially in the morning, and having breakfast, opening up the shades, letting the light come in, letting the sun come in. You don't have to have the sun hit you directly, but just being in bright light has a very, very powerful tool on improving mood, reducing depression, and it also has a very powerful effect on helping the person get to sleep at night. We're told to turn off computers and blue light and all those things closer to bedtime, but that's the exact type of thing we need, stimulation early in the day, because that helps restore our circadian rhythm. And if you want more information about this, your doctor is going to be much more knowledgeable, but you can talk to your doctor about that. And as far as the goggles and so forth, there are lots of games that a person can socialize. I think I saw an interactive social game that you can play table tennis. And I think it was for the Parkinson's community, where you can play table tennis or ping pong virtually. But I will also say playing table tennis or ping pong live is also a great hand-eye coordination, assuming the person has good balance and they can stand. But that's a fantastic exercise for improving hand-eye coordination, and it's fun. So I'll stop there. And
that's great. So what I'll do now, I don't know if we have any questions from our wonderful community here. I'm going to give it a minute or two if you want to pop yourself off mute. And if you have a question, or if you don't have a question and you wanted to say, hey, great presentation, thanks, Z, you can do that too. But I'll give it a second here. On behalf of PCLA, I want to thank you, Z, for this wonderful presentation. And
thank you.
Again, reiterate what a pleasure it has been to collaborate with you on this. Okay, so I would ask you all just to, if you have a question, go ahead and ask now. Otherwise, I'm going to go into our final wrap here. I got a couple of points of business I want to make sure I mention. Okay, all right. Well, I guess you covered it all so well. We don't have many questions. So thank you again, Z, for joining us for this Let's Talk Parkinson's presentation. And we look forward to seeing all of you next Sunday for part 2 of Roadmaps to Living Better, which I'll be presenting. And like I said earlier, if you registered for today's event, you are all set for next Sunday, so there's no need to do anything else. And we will send you links for the reminders and how to kind of hook up with that. So watch your email for our Let's Talk Parkinson's program. In November, we'll be hosting a roundtable discussion about Parkinson's and caregiving. And then our big annual education conference, Life in Balance, is on Saturday, December 4th. Our Let's Talk Parkinson's is made possible by our sponsors. We want to thank them for making this possible: Abbott, AbbVie, Boston Scientific, Medtronic, Synovian, and by you. So don't forget to visit PCLA.org and make a donation. It's so important, and your donation will help us continue our mission to improve the lives of families living with Parkinson's. We are a nonprofit, and all donations are tax deductible. So if you enjoyed this presentation, please consider helping us out at PCLA.org. And as always, you can reach out to us with questions at info@PCLA.org. I know many times, after you kind of digest these presentations, you might have a question, and just send it to us at that email, info@PCLA.org, and we'll have Z answer you and get back to you. You can also contact us by phone at 310-880-3143. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Stay safe and stay well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.